how are we doing? Have everybody? Yeah? Everybody? Okay. I see nods. Ready to rock? Okay. All right. Defense, when ready, you may present your case in chief.
Defense calls Dr. Micah Lynn.
Doctor, you may take the stand. Reminder, you are under oath.
Permission to proceed. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Michael Lynn.
Dr. Lynn, what do you do for a living?
I'm the Chief Clinical Psychologist at the Forensic Evaluation Center in Santa Ivo.
How long have you been there?
I've worked there for going on 16 years now, and I've held my current role for just over 6.
What education did you receive to end up at the FEC?
I started with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology from Carnegie Mellon University, and then I got my Doctor of Psychology from Pepperdine.
Do you have any certifications pertaining to psychology?
I do. I'm board certified in both clinical and forensic psychology.
Dr. Lynn, have you ever worked in reality TV?
I have. I worked for Pullman and Smith Production Studios for 2 years. They specialize in reality TV.
What did you do during your time there?
While I was there, I evaluated hundreds of potential contestants and worked very closely with chosen contestants during the filming of various shows.
Have you ever published any research regarding psychology and reality TV?
Yes, I've published an article on the psychological effects of competing on reality TV shows.
Dr. Lynn, do you know who Charlie Martin is?
I do know Charlie. I worked with Charlie back in July.
What was the purpose of your work with Charlie?
Charlie was referred to the FEC for psychological evaluation.
Do you have a method when conducting psychological evaluations?
For each case I take on, there's 2 main steps. The first is to review any previously made psychological records, and the second is to conduct clinical interviews.
Did you review any previous psychological records in this case?
I did. I had access to records made by Selkov Studios on Charlie Martin prior to both seasons of The Saboteurs that she participated in. I was also able to obtain and watch video footage from those seasons.
Did you conduct a clinical interview with Charlie?
Yes. Charlie's interview lasted about 6.5 hours.
Dr. Lynn, is this method considered reliable in your field?
Absolutely. It's the gold standard.
Dr. Lynn, the information that you reviewed, was it enough to reach a conclusion?
Yes, it was.
Did you rely upon those materials to form that conclusion?
I did.
Could you tell us what exactly you concluded about Charlie's mindset?
Charlie likely developed an altered perception, which led her to develop a false sense of security.
Dr. Lynn, you mentioned psychological records a little bit ago. Would you recognize a copy of those if I were to show them to you today?
Yes.
Approaching opposing counsel with Exhibit 26.
So noted.
Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor?
Certainly.
Courtesy copy.
Please, thank you very much.
Dr. Lynn, is this a fair and accurate copy of the psychological records?
Yes, these are the assessments that I reviewed.
Have they been changed or altered in any way?
I don't believe so.
Defense moves Exhibit 26 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
So noted and entered into evidence.
Dr. Lynn, what can you tell us about Charlie's mindset before Season 2?
There's not much to note. Before Season 2, Charlie experienced no mental health disorders or concerns of any kind.
Did that change by the start of Season 10?
By the start of Season 10, Charlie was showing symptoms of borderline post-traumatic stress disorder and borderline obsessive-compulsive personality disorder.
Does this psychological record determine what the cause of those symptoms were?
Yes. According to this evaluation, the cause of the symptoms was most likely Rob Armstrong's betrayal to Charlie in Season 2.
I can take that back from you now. Permission to approach and retrieve?
Certainly.
Let's talk a little bit about your clinical interview. Did you discuss the betrayal with Charlie?
Yes, I did.
When exactly did this betrayal take place?
At the end of season 2, which was back in 2020,
And when did season 10 end?
April of last year.
How long after the end of season 10 did you conduct your clinical interview with Charlie?
I conducted my interview roughly 2 months after the end of season 10.
Is that something you account for?
Absolutely. When I conduct a clinical interview, I find it extremely important to take into account the perception of the person I'm talking to. That includes the perception at the time of the interview, but also at the time of the events that we're talking about. I brought a model with me today to help explain this a little better.
Your Honor, permission for Dr. Lin to step down and make use of a demonstrative?
Certainly may.
Your Honor, with your permission, I invite the opposing counsel to relocate themselves so that they can view the demonstrative, and I ask for permission for co-counsel to help me set this.
So noted. Counsel, wherever you're comfortable.
Dr.
Dr. Lin, is this a model that you regularly use?
I use models like this one all the time. I find that the simplest explanations can be the best.
Can you explain what we're looking at here?
This is your classic game of I Spy, except somewhere in this image is hidden a danger sign. Now, the distractions make that danger sign hard to perceive.
Could you explain some of the distractions that we're looking at?
I made this I Spy specifically for this case. So you're seeing things that were distractions on the show, like first aid, and safety divers, and pressure, things like that.
Now, how do those distractions make it harder to perceive the danger?
The distractions alter your perception. Now, maybe you played ahead and you found the danger. Maybe you're not sure where it is. If you have found it, you'd admit you had to look for it. But when I remove those distractions, you start to perceive it as danger and not just another part of this game.
Dr. Wynn, you can go ahead and take your seat now. How does this model explain what happened to Charlie's perception on the saboteurs?
While on the show The Saboteurs, Charlie most likely developed an altered perception and a false sense of security.
Can you explain what exactly you mean by false sense of security?
False sense of security means that acts that may seem dangerous to you and I, other people outside of this game, are perceived as harmless to those inside of the game due to certain factors.
What sort of factors can cause that?
That's where those distractions come back into play. Distractions or factors like promise of safety and producers or production pressure can all play a part in this false sense of security.
Let's talk about pressure. Did Charlie feel pressured on set?
Yes. Charlie told me of multiple conversations where she was reminded of the betrayal in season 2.
Objection. This is hearsay.
Your Honor, pursuant to Rule 703, statements by Charlie Martin are not hearsay because they are. This expert, Dr. Lin, is using those statements to form her conclusion about Charlie's mindset, and it's important that the jury hears them so we can understand why Dr. Lin came to those conclusions.
I believe that this prejudicial effect would greatly outweigh its probative value, and therefore it's not an exception to hearsay.
I applaud you for the very good use of the basis of the rule. I will overrule it too because it is the purpose of this witness, so in order to hear her opinion, I feel the jury needs to outweigh her opinion, and based on that, they need to know where it comes from. So overruled, thank you.
Could you explain a little bit more about the pressure Charlie was feeling?
Of course. While on set, Charlie was reminded of memes and footages of her crying. She was essentially told that if she didn't do something drastic, history would repeat itself all over again.
Dr. Lin, you mentioned safety. Did Charlie ever discuss safety on set?
Charlie spoke very highly of safety on set. She told me of safety divers, safety briefings, and checks that contestants were constantly monitoring.
Dr. Lin, at any point when discussing the events of season 10, did Charlie express any intention to kill Rob Armstrong?
No. Charlie gave no indication that she expected or intended for Rob to die.
Your Honor, I have nothing further at this time.
Thank you, counsel.
Would opposing counsel like me to take down the demonstrative?
Yes, please.
Counsel, when ready, you may begin. Your time.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good morning.
You were paid $25,000 by the defense, correct?
That's correct.
And you're here as an expert on the defendant's mental state?
Yes, that's correct. I conducted a lot of research and analysis with Charlie.
And you just assumed that the psychological analysis reports from Selkoff Studios were correct?
I didn't just assume. I know the methods that Dr. Calkins uses, that's who conducted the assessments. I have no reason to believe that those assessments were wrong in any shape or form. They're standard tests.
So you assumed them as correct?
Again, it's not an assumption. It's an educated inference.
But yes, you used them as correct.
Yes, I believe that those assessments are true.
And you said that these tests were based on self-report questions.
Yes, they are.
So if the defendant was dishonest, this would harm the validity of the results?
That's true. That's why we use the self-deception enhancement scale. That essentially makes it so that people answering the questions are less likely to be dishonest or self-deceiving.
And during your time together, the defendant told you that the only sabotage that they did was the weights in Rob Armstrong's backpack, correct?
That's correct. I asked Charlie about sabotages and she told me about the weights.
Your Honor, based on pretrial ruling C, I would like to read Martin's police interrogation, line 197, onto the record.
Any objection, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, to hearsay depending on the statement.
The statement is made by Charlie Martin.
And according to the...
My apologies, Your Honor.
No. Thank you for the clarification.
May I?
Please continue. Thank you.
Martin says, yeah, Rob had the blue mask. This is the one I put the oxalic acid in. And during your time together, the defendant called Rob a narcissist,
Yes, that's true.
and a backstabber,
Yes.
and evil.
Yes.
And when asked about their feelings towards Rob, they described their feelings as loathing.
Yes. I asked Charlie to use one word to describe Rob and that's the word she chose.
And this was all after Rob's death.
Yes.
And you concluded that Martin was able to appreciate the potential harm of using something like oxalic acid in a breathing device.
That's not entirely correct. The test scores show that that's true, but the tests are kind of like the back of that I Spy that we looked at. They don't account for the perception of Charlie at the time of the game show. That's why when I conduct my clinical interview, I have to take into account the whole picture. So there are serious questions whether Charlie was able to appreciate the harm.
But you concluded that Charlie was able to appreciate the potential harm of putting oxalic acid into a breathing device.
That's what the test results showed.
That that's what you concluded, correct?
My conclusion in this case is that Charlie developed an altered sense of perception, and that may have led to a false sense of security. Furthermore, that Charlie did not intend for Rob to die.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Just review it. Take your time.
Sorry, may I confer?
Certainly. Yeah, please do.
So ultimately, the test scores did indicate that Charlie Martin was able to appreciate putting the dangers of putting oxalic acid into a breathing device.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Thank you, Counsel. I'm going to allow it, but just to get it up to speed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat my question?
Please.
Ultimately, the test scores indicated that the defendant was able to appreciate the potential danger of putting oxalic acid into a breathing device.
Yes, that's correct.
No further questions.
Thank you, Counsel. Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Permission to proceed?
Please.
Dr. Lin, why do you have questions about the validity of those tests?
The questions about the validity of the tests come from the overall viewpoint of perception. Tests are numerically based, which isn't always the case with psychology. We have to take into account Charlie's perception and that false sense of security. That's why the I-SPY model is so important, because it shows you the whole...
Objection. Relevant. The pretrial ruling previously read onto the record during pretrial says that we cannot question the tests or the methods used by Dr. Lin as their validity is assured.
Counsel.
Your Honor, if I may,
Please.
this witness concluded that those tests were not necessarily valid because of the fact that they were taken 2 months afterwards. That the test scores did indicate that. We're not contesting what the test scores indicated. We're indicating why those test scores may have been different than Dr. Lin's conclusions.
Counsel rebuttal.
Can we find the word
Is it a circulation, Counsel?
It's a pretrial ruling.
So a motion.
Yes. Which
Is that C?
It's E, I think.
Thank you. Oh, there it is. It's on page 4 or whatever. Page 4.
We don't have it.
Do I have it for you? Do I have your copy?
You might.
You can borrow mine.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, just read it. So it said it's for everyone's benefit. Both parties filed similar motions to exclude the opinion testimony of Dr. Lin and Dr. Jha. The state argues that Dr. Lin's opinions are inadmissible, while the defendant argues that, is this the wrong one? That Jha's opinions are inadmissible, either opinion as well.
It will go on to page 5, Your Honor. That's where the holding of that motion is.
Thank you. Okay, let's jump. The court finds, that's what's important, right? That according to 702 A, B, C have been satisfied as long as Jha's testimony is otherwise admissible pursuant to MRE. Jha's testimony may be admitted as an expert opinion in reality TV production. If so, offered. And Dr. Lin up top, thank you. Your Honor, is reliable methods used in evaluating the defendant and credibility of Dr. Lin's conclusion. Underlying facts are always relevant grounds for cross-examination. Let me know when ready, counsel.
Yeah, may I proceed?
Please.
It says that the psychological tests have consistently been held to be reliable, and the state may not, wait, that's us. The opinions are based on psychological tests that have been consistently been held to be reliable. So if the tests are reliable, they cannot come and undermine their point that it's not 100% reliable.
Right. Counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. This order only states that the state may not object under Rule 702 or B or C. We are simply we're not questioning the reliability of the tests, but rather explaining why they may differ from Dr. Lin's conclusions.
Thank you. I will overrule it, but good on you. Great objection, very nitty-gritty, so I applaud you. Good defense.
Dr. Lin, could you just explain a little bit more why you have questions about those tests?
Those tests aren't human, and psychology is. So when we have to take tests like that, we understand they can only look at the pinpoint in time. I conducted those tests 2 months after Charlie's mindset had changed from where it was on season 10. They're not necessarily reliable for understanding what Charlie's mindset looked like at the end of season 10.
Your Honor, I have nothing further at this time.
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, counsel. You may step down. Thank you for your service today. And defense, you may call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Mr. Nell Dews to the stand.
You take a seat. And reminder, you are under oath.
Permission to proceed, Your Honor?
Please.
Good afternoon. Please state your name for the court.
What's up? I'm Nell Dews.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody here recognizes me from my work on Season 8 of The Saboteurs. Gotta represent that. But in case you're not familiar, I was also on Little Betty's Dancing Honey Buns, but I was the one on the left.
Okay, Mr. Dews, but I'd like to talk to you about the Saboteurs. Were you on any other seasons?
Yes, I was on the All-Star seasons for Season 10, hence why I was cast.
What was the atmosphere like on season 10?
In a word, chaotic. I mean, it was the All-Star season, so everybody was running around, we were having meetings, doing this, doing that. Classic stuff.
Could you expand a little bit more on how it was chaotic?
Of course. So, as it was an all-star season, we all brought back our favorite people, hence why I was there. And that included, of course, the rivalries and the baggage that came along with that. So, a lot of the residual tension came back to the show.
Now, you mentioned you were a saboteur. What is a saboteur?
The saboteur is really kind of understood as the bad guy. It's really the people that tweak competitions to make it harder for the other 17 nobles or good guys to complete these challenges.
You said they tweak things. Can you give us an example of one of those?
Yeah. So let's take a scavenger hunt, for example. I give you a map, but your map has 7 X's instead of my 2. You could complete the challenge, but it might take you a little bit longer than every other competitor.
And can you tell us about your perspective as a saboteur?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, it was quite chaotic, but it's kind of where I thrive. A cutthroat competitor, if you will. And so, you had to kind of perform, because it doesn't make sense for the saboteurs to get eliminated in the first few episodes, and then have no rest of the season. We had to perform.
Were you able to work with the other saboteurs?
Yes, I was able to work alongside Charlie Martin and Santiago Larson.
When did you find out that you would all be saboteurs?
That was at the end of the filming for episode 1, and I was super stoked to be back in the driver's seat there.
And when did you find out when the first person was eliminated?
So that was the filming of episode 2, and there was a competition challenge, so the last person in that got eliminated, as well as a vote happened at the end.
Who did you vote for?
Initially, I wanted to get one of them pesky season 8 people out, like Bailey Rice. I mean, she won the thing, so, she already got it. So, then I thought, why not go for somebody bigger, like Rob Armstrong?
Did you see who anyone else voted for?
Yeah, and gotta get a leg up in the competition somehow. I saw that Charlie also wrote down Rob Armstrong's name.
Was Rob eliminated?
No, in fact, there was a meeting later with the saboteurs, and Riley Kay had offered us $50,000 to make sure that Rob stayed in the game
Objection,
longer.
hearsay.
Anything further, counsel? Court statement.
Yes, it's being offered for the truth of the matter that $50,000 were offered.
Your Honor, we are not using the statement made by Riley Kay for the truth of the matter asserted, but rather for the effect on the listeners Nell Dews and Charlie Martin, that it would affect their mindset and how they acted in accordance with the rest of the game towards Rob. Furthermore, if I could direct your attention to the case law tab in your bench book, I believe it is the gray tab. On the 8th page, you will see Chambers versus By the Book Publishing. That indicates that if a statement is not being used for the truth of the matter asserted, but just that the statement was made, it is not inadmissible under hearsay.
Your Honor, I would be amenable to a limiting instruction that this is not to be taken for the truth of the matter asserted.
So noted. Thank you, counsel. Applaud you for your objection and your response. The jury will be so instructed. And needless to say, counsel, please get to it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Did Charlie ever try to sabotage Rob in the game afterwards?
Yes, Charlie had sabotaged Rob in episode 5.
Did that allow Charlie to win?
No. In fact, Rob won that challenge.
Did Rob ever get sabotaged again?
Yes. In episode 8, Rob competed in a diving challenge, and before he asked, yeah, he won that one too. Could have used a little bit of that immunity.
Mr. Dews, were you present the day of the final challenge?
Unfortunately, no. I wasn't even in the finale. I got eliminated in episode 7, so I wasn't there.
Then I have one last question for you. In all the time that you have known Charlie Martin, is there anything that makes you think she's responsible for Mr. Armstrong's death?
Objection, speculation.
Counsel.
Your Honor, we are using this statement and question of Mr. Dews is using his rationally based perception based off of his time spent with Charlie Martin to form his opinion. We are not asking for him to enter into the mindset of another individual.
Follow.
I submit that this is an improper character testimony. The witness cannot testify to Martin's expectation, plan, intent.
Thank you, counsel. Sustained. I agree with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything further?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Dews, in your time on the Saboteurs, did Charlie ever explicitly state wanting to kill Rob Armstrong?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Thank you, counsel. Cross.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Please do.
You just stated Martin never said explicitly she would kill Rob, right?
Yes, that's right. Whenever we were doing things, for example, playing up for the camera, nothing directly contributed to that.
So you would disagree with me that during the first dinner, Martin said, "I'm going to murder you," to Rob?
So, in the show, we use lingo like murder as a term that describes being eliminated from the challenge.
So is that a yes that Martin said, "I'm going to murder you," to Rob?
In context to the challenge and the show, yes.
I'd like to redirect you to my answer. This is a yes or a no. Did Martin say, "I'm going to murder you," to Rob?
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Let's talk about your background. You're a reality TV star.
Guilty as charged.
You wanted to get famous off of TV.
Yeah, and, you know, kind of completed that with my work on the season 8 of the Saboteurs.
And before you were on season 8, you were familiar with the Saboteurs.
Yeah, it was.
You watched season 2, right?
Yep, that's kind of where everybody kind of got hooked on the whole thing.
Because of the betrayal, right?
Yeah, it was iconic.
You thought Martin was a joke on the internet, right?
Well, yeah, and the media also said the same thing.
Okay. Let's move on to your time on the Saboteurs. After season 8, you were pretty upset that you had been eliminated.
Yeah, I was. I mean, losing out on a chunk of change like $1 million is a lot.
You sent anonymous threats to Riley Kay, right?
Yeah, I did. I kind of suspected that she had a part to play and why I got eliminated.
You never threatened Riley during season 10, did you?
No, I mean, with that being said, Riley Kay kind of conceded that I was just that good, that I was back on the show.
Now let's talk about season 10. You were a saboteur, right?
Yep, I was.
You discussed sabotages with Martin and Larson, right?
Yeah, as is customary.
Martin suggested putting sleeping pills in Rob's water
Yes, that's right.
and putting